is Mary Jane of the Anchorage Memories Club.
And this is Mike. In this edition, we're looking at Anchorage Picture Memories, the Anchorage you love. We thought it would be fun to remember some places in Anchorage that are dear to our hearts. And what better way to begin than to look at where you may have begun your life? Providence Hospital, originally located at 9th Avenue and L Streets, first opened on June 29, 1939 by the Sisters of Providence. Many were born in the hospital between 1939 and 1963. A few of those include Mary Jane of Anchorage Memories, along with all her brothers and sisters. And while I was born in the lower 48, my brother Tom was born in Providence, as was my little sister Sybil. How you doing, Sybil? Well, how about you? Were you or someone in your family born there?
Remembering the Bun Drive-In and the Coke Show. Our story begins on Christmas Eve, 1959. It was a cold December night when Ron Moore first took his radio show, known as The Coke Show, to new heights, literally. The show began originating from, as Ron used to say, high atop the Bun Drive-In at 601 Northern Lights Boulevard, later named Woolly Bully Boulevard by Ron and the gang. The new Coke Show studio was a small booth, affectionately known as the Chicken Coop or the Royal Roost. Remember, Ron was also known as the Royal Coachman on his radio program. The studio sat on the roof of the Bun Drive-In, overlooking the parking lot through a picture window. The Coke Show and the Bun Drive-In bring back a flood of great memories. Do you have a request and a dedication?
When you had visitors from the lower 48, Jonas Brothers was probably one of the places you took them for a peek at Alaska. The outside of the building had a rustic Anchorage look, and inside was a treasure chest of Alaska animals, furs, and more. And did you know that another Anchorage treasure got its start in Jonas Brothers? In about 1958, Russ and Doris Ryman considered selling books directly to customers in a retail store. That's when they joined a lady named Esther Tout, who ran a small 15 by 25-foot bookstore in the same building as Jonas Brothers Taxidermy and Furriers, located on 5th Avenue. The little bookstore in Jonas Brothers became so popular that Russ and Doris decided to relocate. Their new location became known as the Book Cache, one of the most popular bookstores in Anchorage.
Swim into your memories. Until March 1953, when the spa first opened, if you wanted to swim in or around Anchorage, you had one choice. It had to be summer, and you had to swim in a lake or with your rubber ducky in the bathtub. Then, on March 31st, 1952, a man named Edwin Sudduck, a wholesale grocer, and his wife, Mary, made a welcome announcement. They were going to build a private indoor swimming pool in Anchorage. The pool will be located at 1720 F Street between West 16th and 17th Avenues. The location was just above what would later become the Valley of the Moon Park. And many remember being bused from school to the spa for swimming lessons. Barbara remembers, for 2 weeks, first thing in the morning, a busload of us were taken to the spa. It was great to have swimming lessons. I still really appreciate the building design with the wall of windows. But afterward, we had to get back on the bus in our damp clothes, coats, and wet hair.
Sidney Lawrence and Rainbow Trout. On the west side of the 4th Avenue Theater was the First National Bank. You could stand on the sidewalk and enjoy looking at a fish tank filled with rainbow trout. Inside the bank was an incredible collection of huge paintings by Alaska's premier artist, Sidney Lawrence. The paintings were a real treat to look at. Many, if not all, were of the great mountain known to Alaskans as Denali.
When Caribou's department store in Spenard announced the grand opening of its store escalator, it seemed like a theme park ride had opened, and most of the town turned out to ride it. Were you there?
Hey, Mary Jane, I rode that escalator about 20 times. Whee! Well, wow, this has been a great trip down memory lane. What are your memories? From our North Stars, by the way, that's you. This is from our look at the Alaska Zoo. Tony had this memory. I lived in Bruin Park off of O'Malley Road from 1964 to 1975. My buddy lived across from the Diamond H Ranch, and I remember when the zoo opened how surprised we were that someone would open a zoo there. But then again, there were also lions in Mountain View back then. Well, in our Alaska Zoo edition, we also included a picture of an artist helping Annabelle the elephant to paint a picture. Eric identified the artist for us. The artist painting with Annabelle is Diane Barsky, well known in Anchorage. She has since retired out of state. Thank you, Eric. If you still carry an older Anchorage in your bones, certain streets, certain winters, certain small details no outsider would think to mention, you're in the right place. Until next time, Mike and Mary Jane, the Anchorage Memories Club.